It's Julie with Reflections Framing and Stitching. Today is the 10th of June, I believe. It's Monday morning. I'm out on the deck. I remembered my exterior microphone, so you'll be able to hear me a little better this time. And I just want to say welcome. How are you today? This is going to be a video, a chart of the day video, about cross stitch. So if that's what you were looking for, you found the right place. I'm going to get started. It's fairly early this morning, but I've got a neighbor I think they're going to start ripping off his roof, so it could get a little bit loud. So I want to try and get this done before it gets too noisy or some crazy person decides to mow. It's so pretty out. I hope they don't. I'd like to spend the whole day out here if I could. We spent pretty much the whole weekend out here, and it was wonderful. So we're going to get right into this video without too much chitter chatter. Today, the chart has been requested. It's Serenity from Teresa Kogut. And I'm just going to say right now that this was a bugger. It was a bugger when I was choosing my own fabric, and it was a bugger when I was trying to choose options for you all. The problem is the floss, the color palette, because it ranges, it's got everything in it. So it's got, your golds and your beiges and your grays and your greens, your gray greens. So it's really difficult to find a background that you could see everything on it. And since I haven't stitched it fully yet, I just have my little start from retreat. It's hard to know where things are, and I didn't necessarily have as much time as I would have liked to look at that. A lot of times I will take the time to stop and look at it, but it took me so long to find even fabric that I thought looked good with this, because I pulled the floss palette 2 weeks ago, I think, and I didn't get around to looking at fabric until, so we have stitching on Saturdays, and the stitching part goes until between 2 and 3. The shop closes at 2, and then I usually take that last hour while the stitchers are kind of finishing up, and sometimes I even get a chance to sit down and talk with them for a little bit, but that didn't happen this Saturday. So what I do is, I'm closing out the drawer, and then if I have a chart that I want to try and kit up for a video, that's kind of when I take the time to do it. And Connie was helping me Saturday. So we had a hard time. That's what all that was for. So we had a hard time. So I have just a couple of choices in a neutral, and then I have some out-of-the-box choices, which I actually don't mind. So it might be something to consider for you. Sorry. This is the first time I'm really talking this morning, so, you have that morning phlegmy stuff going on. So the chart is Serenity. It calls to be stitched on 40 count Up in the Attic by Fox and Rabbit, which I no longer have. And then it uses a combination of Weeks Dye Works, Classic Color Works, and DMC. There are a few quiet. Sorry. Trying to teach Remy not to bark. It's like herding cats. You just can't do it. quite a few of them require more than one skein. Some of them require 4. There's one that requires 4, a couple that require 3, and a couple that require 2. 3 that require 2. So you'll want to make sure you look at that when you're kitting it up. Because that's on 40 count over 2 with 1 strand. So if you were doing it on a 28 count, you're going to need to up that floss quite a bit, because she's a big one, 338 by 340 stitches. So she's large and in charge. So let's just start with, I'm going to start with what I chose and what several of my friends have chosen. I chose this one because I liked, you know how I always say don't go by the picture because it bears no resemblance to reality. Hey, I'm sorry I had to squirt you, but you can't bark. This is one of those cases where I liked what the cover looked like. I know Up in the Attic does not look like this, because we have had it before. But I liked how this looked. So I tried to find a fabric that would work with all the colors. That looked somewhat similar to this. And what I landed on was 40 count Cafe au Lait. Sometimes it's called sand. And it looks like this. And I would tell you right now that I had to change the flower color. See the flowers right up in here, which is ecru. I changed mine to, I think, just DMC white, because I like them to show up, and they weren't. I'm going to open this up even further, get a little bigger. So, we pretty much determined that everything should show up on here. Remy, stop. Stop. It's okay. She's got her panties in a twist because she got squirted with water. So that, everything should look okay with that. Hold on a minute. Stop. Okay. Back to where we were at. She's got issues today. So we pretty much decided that everything should show up on here without too much trouble. Except for the ecru wasn't going to show up at all. So, like I said, I think I changed mine to white. There's that ecru. But I'm going to say that with a little caveat. What is wrong? That as I continue stitching it, which I'm not working on it currently because I want to get my peacock done. Hello. There may need to be some adjustments made. You know, lighten a color, darken a color, something like that. But I'm fairly confident that everything will work. Are you going to spend the rest of the day here because I squirted you? So, let me put her down. Go lay down. Go lay down by Rags. Okay, that was fabric number 1. I apologize for the mess that this video is going to be. So you can see the dilemma in choosing a fabric. It's not, every now and again you run into something that just, you can't find anything you really like. But I like this one, and like I said, several of my friends also chose the same one. The next one I have is Crepe from Seraphim. And I would describe crepe as having a yellowy base, and it has some blush in it, so little hints of kind of a pinky color. And I think a yellowy base is probably going to be the best bet for these. Again, you're going to have to change the flower color. And on this one, it might even have to go to B5200. You're gonna or change it from white to a pastel-y pink or yellow. You know, something that will show up on your fabric. But on this one, I think I like most of the colors, and I think they'll show up just fine, except for those flowers. That one you're going to have to adjust. And finally, for neutrals, I have Shrekie's Tan from Needle Bling. I really enjoy Shrekie's Tan for a lot of things. But the colors do pretty good on this. Without, I don't know that you would have to make a whole lot of changes on it. Good Lord. I don't think you'd have to make a whole lot of changes. I think even the ecru would show up, although I think I still would prefer a little bit brighter flower if it were me. And on this one, I'd probably do maybe 3865, the winter white. Okay, that's it for neutrals, and we tried a ton of neutrals. Prairie grass and raw natural, and while raw natural worked, most people are looking for a variegated or some movement, although my cafe au lait does not have movement. I just wanted a nice clean look to it, because it's Serenity. It requires a clean look, in my opinion. So now we're going to jump to the out of the box. And it's out there a little bit. So Dusk from Fiber on a Whim is a very dark blue. Open it up a little wider. So it looks like this. And it would give an entirely different look to this design, but I don't think it would be a bad look. It would just look like dusk, a serene dusk. All the colors are beautiful on there. You wouldn't have to change a thing. So that would be one option for you. This happens to be a 32, so I don't have it in a 40, or I would have grabbed it, but I don't. But someone else probably does, and I can order it. Not like I can never get it. Anthracite. This is a 40 count. It's just a Zweigart base. Nice blue-gray. But again, your colors are all going to show up. It's just going to give you a different look. And different does not mean bad. It just means different. another step further out of the box. Nope, I got one more blue to show you. Is Night Sky from Fiber on a Whim. Very similar to the Dusk, but much, a bit darker. This is going to look like a dark sky. But again, you can see all the colors are going to show up on there. Now, we're going to step out a little bit more. And I actually showed this to the stitchers that were left. And they all liked it. So, hopefully you will too. This is 40 count Victorian Rose. It's a Zweigart based fabric. So, I am going to say that it is it's not a true pink. It has quite a bit of peachiness to the pink. So it's not peach. It is still pink, but it's a peachy based pink. And it looks amazing with these colors. And I've even considered switching my fabric out. Because I haven't gotten that far, so why not? It's a very calming, serene color. All of the colors show up nicely. So I think it would look good. Just waiting for someone to say, yep, I want that. I want that one. Now I'm going to show you the difference between what I would consider a true pink, which is blush, Lugana. Again, it's a Zweigart. But I'm going to show you kind of the difference between this peachier pink. Maybe I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to get a fairly decent size piece of it. There. Okay. So it's lighter in color, but it also has more blue. It's a more blue pink. I would call this a true pink, but that is the difference. And while it would work, I don't like it as well as I like the other pink. But it would work. So that's it. That's all I have for you. I know it's not as many as what I usually show, but the struggle was very real. And Connie actually gave up and went and sat down. So, you know, when that happens, you know, it's kind of, because I tried a lot. Not gonna lie. I did try quite a few, and it just didn't work out. So, what do you think? I'm planning one change to my Serenity, and that is I'm not planning to do the word Serenity on it. I'm not planning to do this. as we know, I'm not big on words. So I think I'm just going to carry this across and meet in the middle. And I may put a, I don't know. I may put one of these end things in the middle and then have this come off of it or something. I haven't decided for sure yet, but that is the only change I plan to make other than the ecru thing, which I already told you about. So, we need a question of the day. And I, of course, have not thought of one. So, I'm just going to keep it real, guys. I have not thought of one. So, I'm going to pause for a minute while I ponder that. And I'll be right back. Well, it's a good thing I paused because Jet just flew over and you wouldn't have been able to hear me anyway. So here's my question. When you're kitting up a project, whether you're kitting it up just to have it or whether you're kitting it up to start it, what's your process? Do you, Remy, quiet, I'll explain my process and then we'll go from there. So I always get my floss first. And I don't go to my stash and choose from my stash for a couple of different reasons. Number one, I never know whether it's been used, and it could be just a small bit that's been removed from it, but that small bit could potentially make a difference. And I'm always afraid that I'm going to run out. Like, let's say the dog gets a hold of it and I need another skein, but it's 6 months or 6 years later, the dye lot's not going to be the same. Especially if I pulled it from my stash. So my process for that is I kit everything up fresh. I have plenty of DMC, so I don't worry so much about that. But if it's an overdyed, I kit it all up. And even DMC, I will go down, because I do have a lot of DMC. I will go down and pull fresh skeins, because I don't ever put used skeins back in with my DMC. So I pull fresh for everything. And I prefer to overkit rather than underkit. Again, because dye lots change, and and because I'm not just working on that one project, and I'm not going to start it and then finish it, you know, it could sit for years before I get back to it after starting it or kitting it. I want to make sure I have plenty. So I overkit, and I did this even before I owned the shop. So don't sit there and think, well, yeah, you own a shop, you can afford to do that. I did it even beforehand because I don't want to take the chance that I'm not going to have everything I need to finish that, because I do always intend to finish. So my first process, first I pull my floss and I overkit. So, if it says I need 3 skeins, I'm going to get 4 just to be on the safe side. And if I have extra, I have extra. I'd rather have extra than run out. It's okay, Rem. And then I take the pulled floss and I go over and choose the fabric. I don't have a large fabric stash, again, because I prefer to kit everything up when I buy the chart. So I will go over to the fabric and I will have it cut just specifically for that pattern. So sometimes it can take me a little while to figure out what fabric I want to use because I want it to be right. Again, because I'm not using from my stash. I just don't go downstairs and pull some. And I know that's not most people's, most people's thing. But, so what I'm asking you is, do you buy a chart? Do you kit it up right away? Do you just buy the chart and, oh, you'll kit it up later? And then when you do kit it up, what is your process? Are you pulling from stash? Are you, I have never once gone downstairs to the bins that I have. And when I say bins, I'm not talking huge bins, little plastic bins that have fabric in them. I've never once gone down there to see what I have. Never once. Maybe when I retire, I might have to do that, because we'll be on a fixed income at that point. So, but that's also another reason why I kit everything up, because when Dan retires, there will be no extra money for cross-stitch stuff. So I want to make sure I have everything I need to last me until I croak. Is what it is, or until I can't see anymore. So what's your process? How do you go about getting ready to kit up a project? And yeah, what's your process? So I'm going to let you go. I've got another video I want to do this morning, so and then I have to post one. So I'm going to let you go, and I will see you in the next one. You take care until then. Oh, little reminder, probably by the time you see this, I will be on vacation and the shop will be closed. Keep in mind, I will be gone from, when am I gone? June. I think the last day that the shop is open is, let me look at the calendar real quick. Just as a reminder. The last day the shop will be open is June 22nd, which is a Saturday. And then I will be closed until Tuesday. I will reopen on Tuesday, the 9th of July. So keep that in mind. Because when you see this, I'll already be on vacation. Can't wait. Fingers crossed it goes well. So take care till next time. Bye.